Hi Libra. I've tested the sound. You should be able to hear me fine over the air conditioner. Thank you for being here, first of all. And I'm excited to get into the Virgo season reading with you. And I also find that I can't over project today because it will stress out my body. This is something I don't always acknowledge, and maybe this will relate to you. So that's why I found myself saying it in the pre-record where I wanted to make sure, do a testing. We're gonna keep this card out, which is funny because we're talking about the voice. And so I've had adjustments in my body recently from just chronic ailments, and acknowledging that in real time has been a very difficult thing for me to recognize and address and voice at this time. And I find that I'm able to, with a lot more ease, learn to do that and project that and acknowledge that, because that is the truth, right? I have to spend time relaxing into this space. And that's why sometimes if you find that I am taking a pause, taking a moment, sometimes not, having to clear up my thoughts, say things a few times, it's because a lot of times I'm adjusting my body. And as a Libra, you might understand this, that the awareness you have of self and then others, because you are the other people that are watching me, the awareness of that, anyone behind a camera who is not, even subconsciously, I think it comes out. Do I think it's for protection sometimes? Absolutely. Most of the time, yes. And other times it's from having these chronic ailments and then being able to voice them and realize that it's become a big part of your belief, my belief, the structure that sets the tone for your life. And what's been maybe coming through at this time before your season, because I want to call this the horizon, as that is the symbol for Libra. Not only is it the symbol for Libra, but for Libra risings, which this does include Libra suns and Libra moons, because to some extent it will affect you. That Libra risings, you have Virgo in the 12th house, and that will be also affecting, again, the other two. So the 12th house is that subconscious. It's where things lay dormant, where things become available to us, almost when we become aware of something finally, right? Something that you've been working on behind the scenes, you finally put something out there, and then you explore what comes up from that, because that's then the next phase, right? That's just one example. So one example is putting yourself out there in a way you haven't before, especially if you are in a position like me, building a business, especially off of where you maybe need to use your voice, or if it's creative. For some of you, this will be about writing. This will be about just any way of getting this out of you. And perhaps creative, I'm going to talk to both Venusian signs. If you do follow those two signs, you'll notice that I'm putting them together a lot recently, because there's so much that they have, that Venus has been moving through, especially from last year when Venus was in Leo for a while. Ooh, sorry about that. Ooh. In this transformation that you may be feeling or experiencing, that hair flip kind of made the thing. Look at that. I was and I was and now you get it. Now we get it. Now we get why. Now we understand. So, bottom of the deck, this is what's, changing your world. Also, there's Pluto. Pluto's finally going to move fully into Aquarius soon in the future. Why do I say that? Because I don't have it put down exactly. It's going to be retrograding into Capricorn very soon. And that is your okay, that's your 4th house. See, I just have to focus. Because I like to have notes because I think it's relevant and allows for, more. But this is also the 7th house, which is a Scorpio house, which is like the one-on-one partnership. So there's like maybe an evolution happening in both of these areas, but also your pleasure for Libra risings, especially because Pluto then will be entering your 5th house for a while. And for 20 years. So this is like the beginning of this cycle that you're maybe already beginning as like an air sign. You're kind of getting a whiff, you're kind of getting a taste, you're getting maybe a realization or beginning to what this is going to look like, or a preview, almost just like what I did before is like, this is a preview. And this is in this access where you are learning to communicate what it is that you believe, what it is that you're more aware of and open to at this time, and what connection also looks like, especially for one-on-one connections, but also your connection with yourself comes first. That is the first one-on-one connection, and if you believe in a higher power, then that is even in that forefront as well. There's an experience of this becoming very real too, like anything that you're believing, anything that you are practicing belief in too, right? So there's a belief, but then there's a practicing of it, because there are people who will know something about themselves that has been, self-sabotage or detrimental to relationships even, and not be willing to change or shift or even decide that that's a problem, or just be willing to like keep coming up against that, and they feel comfortable there. And these are fixed signs, and we just came from a fixed season where you will see how detrimental being fixed, this is the bottom of the deck, being and having a fixed nature to an extent can be on one's change and evolution, because it can actually cause sometimes more harm when you're not moving forward, when you're not acting on creative endeavors. And maybe it's because you've had so much pain in these areas. Maybe you really are acknowledging and having a look back at what's been going on and what has been healing from the creative center, and how that connects to how you speak, how that connects to how you move in the world. And through this fixed, that's why it's also really important to be aware of that. The fixed nature is to soften, and then the change happens. Like there's a softening that continues to like almost chisel away at those areas of your life, and then all of a sudden you'll have this experience and flow of energy in that area and whether it's in a negative or positive way. For some people it is like this experience of something is hard, something is painful, you need to move through it. And for others of you, it's this experience of, okay, I know that if I don't get in front of this, I'm going to experience that. And if I have learned from this, and if you're at that space where it's not right or wrong to be in any space during this in any specific way, but if you are meeting it very presently in your change and transformation around this time, then, and what I mean by that is that, again, it's neither good nor bad to be present or to be still being pulled a little bit, because you can still catch up. You can always catch up. It's just there's an acceptance that goes along with it. There is a letting go that goes along with it. And if you don't know how to do that, if you're not aware of where even you are and maybe holding on, this could be also a part of that. Oh, wow. Sorry. Just want to play with this for a second. Okay. That is a lot stronger than I had anticipated it being. Okay. Sorry. The light is going to be very high in this area. We're in Virgo season where the light does shine. The light is here to show us that you are the light. That this is a part of looking over the horizon. This is a part of where you gain control in a healthy way, where at one point, maybe it wasn't healthy. And now it's looking as if whatever it is that you're looking back on, whatever it is have you been reflecting on in retrograde about, whatever you've been in retrograde, yeah, I like that, and in thought about, especially to do with how it is that you, especially if you're thinking about your self-worth and your resources and what that looks like, and how not acting creatively has your mind moving forward, because your mind will, this is the dichotomy about Libras, is that your mind can still move forward. You could be in that space, but at the same time your body, because there was a disconnection in the heart, maybe a misinterpretation in the heart, something that was maybe protecting you for a while from a certain vulnerability that connects that space, where your body has been on hold. This is a card of moving fast. And you have this very healing moment this month where this, through your interactions, through using your voice, through acting upon your intuition, you find yourself in a divine timing moment where whatever you've been missing and needing to see to really click things into place and get in that timeline, because I've talked about timelines a lot, and I do believe like that's where we're at right now, and the world showing up is like you have this timeline that you are putting to rest in a really big way. That has also been a part of what has been maybe stunting your creative growth, or stunting or blocking. Same thing, like whatever word that you like best, pick and choose, insert there. And now that you understand, you have a lot more control over your focus, and you realize that a lot of times these relationships, especially if this is a relationship that's going through a change, especially what you believe in, maybe all your relationships are going through this change, and you're starting to implement depending on the intimacy and the connection, right? This card obviously wants to come out. And the moment of change could be around the eclipse. This could be for Libra risings. This is your 11th house. No, I'm sorry. That's for Taurus risings. For Libra risings, this is your 6th house. Yeah. So your work, how you direct your focus in work, your day-to-day, what brings that, the first two, and we'll get more into this in the second part. I'm just finding how much, like, what to share with you in this moment. And in this moment, I'm being called to share like the 2 and the 8, right? And then we have this eclipse happening in the 6th. The reason what this is showing you is like your self-worth is being lifted to a point where you have so much confidence in yourself that your focus gets so straight and direct, especially when Venus moves into Libra. And then we'll have Mercury moving into Libra by the end of the month. And so there will be a lot in Libra. And I think for some of you, you could be really experiencing this, a lot of shuffling or chaos, or things going around the mind and sorting itself out this season, even in the body. And you may find you need to find moments where you do connect and focus with yourself aside from work and aside from the day-to-day tasks. It's about finding your voice, your space, your intuition, your creation. Pick and choose which word you like, insert it there, in your day-to-day, that makes you feel more like yourself that day. Because I'm going to relate you to yoga this month, is like every day you step out into your life, you may find that there's a nuance or a small difference and a small change, all depending on the physical pain, emotional pain that you could be experiencing or going through. And acknowledging it is so important, because if you've been wondering, I don't know how to necessarily let go of XYZ. Well, the eclipse is coming around and it's going to help you out, especially if you've been asking for it. I think there are certain people, certain signs, in a way you're so deeply connected relationally in how you move in the world, yet because you can almost anticipate so much, and everyone is going to feel this to an extent because of how much is in Pisces and the eclipse being in Pisces and Virgo at this, you'll see almost like this very slight, codependent nature with certain steps that you take. And eventually we rely on those steps to get us there. It's like basically relating it to is like a 5-step guide to ... thinking like that's always going to work. And it may, for some people that may. You're not always that linear. You may be cerebral. And some people may equate that with linear, and it may be a weak antonym. According to thesaurus and dictionary.com, there are weaker and stronger antonyms, and I really enjoy that. So I'm going to put that nuance out here. And I have not looked this up, so if you do, forgive me if it's not there. I am putting it there right now. And what you may be realizing is that you can't necessarily anticipate this, and that is where the anticipation is maybe where it gets you stuck. It's like when the horizon happens and you're seeing the sun rise or set, and there's like just a few moments, literally. It feels like so short, but it's really a few minutes long. But when you're not there, you're rushing to get there, or you are upset you missed that part, so you can't enjoy the rest. It's those few moments where you get to see how clearly it is that you're learning to let go of perception more and more, especially for those of you who have felt it hard to create or dive deeper into this authenticity with your intuition that really brings you the abundance, the true abundance of listening to your internal guide of like, this is where I want to accept money, this is where I'm not. Because for some of you, you're leaving, very traditional ways of earning money, or you're thinking about it, or you're making a plan, and it's starting to happen, and you have to take action, and action looks different than it used to. This feels uncomfortable, but so much is happening if you're willing to feel through it and experience what is now breaking down, especially in terms of how you relate to others in your communities and how that's shifting, who you show up as here, how that shifts from where you have shown up, how this gives you so much energy to then let go of anywhere that has been detrimental, especially to your mental health. Bottom of the deck. Yeah. This full moon cycle, first we have, this will be out before the Virgo new moon, and that will be in the 12th house, which communicates to you, even if it's abstract or through a feeling, it will communicate to you what needs to be removed, what needs to be or moved through deeper, right? So sometimes in order for us to like remove or to detox something, it's to engage with something at a deep and quicker pace to allow whatever we need to allow to lay to rest. And in other words, in another way, when you're doing a yoga practice, a physical practice, the last 10 minutes ought to be Shavasana, because you're soaking in and you're finding the balance, even though it's 10 to 50 minutes, and even if you do shorter amount of time like I do, it's fine, but you're soaking in all the work that you have done. So it's learning how to work smarter for your energetical needs at this time as well. Remember, the 6th and 12th axis is like whatever's showing up subconsciously is going to help you in your work and how to work better on your day-to-day. And that's transforming from what it used to be, because you may realize that your energy is different and it's always been different, but now you're willing to actually acknowledge and actualize living this way perhaps, and you're really thinking about that more and more, and how creation really brings you there. making things look and feel great, making yourself look and feel great, no matter how at times it can feel vain, but it's really like, you're at your best when you're doing the things that you need to do in your day-to-day. And does that always mean it's strictly the same order? No. That's where you have to allow yourself to give yourself the abstract, unless you're super type A. But even for those people, I challenge you. I challenge you to see, what is it about that? Does it make you feel less control? And then in the moments where you can't have that, testing it, I think, allows more ease to come in those moments, and for you to realize that you've practiced that before, when you can't always see things lining up the way you want. And that's a true testament of what's happening with all of us. That's a huge theme. But for you specifically, this is about being in the mystery, in the ways in which you work in the world, and how you want to, from where you are now to where you want to go, from where you were, right? You've been very successful, and you're going to continuously be, as long, and from what the cards say, putting your focus into that change, really engaging with the change when it shows up, because you feel it coming. It's so weird, honestly. This is where I'm just yo, it's so weird. If you've made it this far, we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna talk more next month. I'm gonna probably have to do a few signs before you in preparation. It's so weird how we can anticipate knowing that this big shift is coming, and every sign does it in their own way, but in a way we almost get halted. It's almost depending on the Libra, of course, but sorry that the smoke has been in your way. I'll put it over here. I'll practice with my left hand. The structure is something that is very internal, and it's very deep. The more, for every one of you, I'm always going to say, and it may get annoying, but every Libra I've ever met is so individual. I see our similarities, but the depth to it, the weight to it, right? That's the difference, is where we put the weight in different things in our lives. And now this month is showing us more of what we've harvested this year. And what you may want to focus on is the depth in which you've related to yourself and others, the depth in which you've created a fertile ground for you to work with at this time, that the change that's happening is because it's supposed to happen at that time. And the more that you trust that and understand that about yourself, and any time, even if it's every day, even if it's in those moments, hour to hour, sometimes minute to minute, and remembering that what you're doing and whatever's trying to distract you is taking away from exactly what you're needing to move forward in your life. Because I find that we can be great manifestors, but you have to be you have to learn to be present, even if you can see 10 steps down the road, even if you consistently realize this is for the future. And because you can be there, you can feel yourself there, and you're not yet there, and then it gets you, for some people it gets them hyped, and ready to do things, but other people you can, decline in your headspace and feel more why am I not there yet? But if you can see it, and you've heard this over and over, it's real. And then you ask yourself how you get there, and you have to be willing to take the actual steps, the actual feelings, and move through them, and utilize what you're feeling in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day interactions, where it can feel so mundane, but that's where the healing is. And that's where, especially next month, that more than anyone in your season. And this is going to show you, what kind of Libra season you want to have. You can feel the anticipation and the changes within yourself, but when the season comes, that will show you more, and we're not going to get there quite yet. However, we're ending this with the eclipse, with the moons, and it's giving way to what it is that the difference between what you've suppressed and then what you're actually laying to rest, and how that's affected your energy, your mood, how you respond to your weaknesses or flaws in the moment, and recognizing that your differences, you love to relate, but you can get in moments where you hate relating, and it's about finding that in between about who you are and how you want to show up. And you're going to be asked that in moments where you need to present to yourself, right? That's why it's whatever you need to do to take care of yourself in a day-to-day, especially when you're interacting with the world. It's for your inner confidence. It's for you to understand that no matter what comes up about yourself and about something that needs to be worked on or strengthened, we can say, it's because it's your choice, it's your focus, and it's your intention. And now we're going to add that into other areas in your life. So I'm excited to get into this reading. I wanted it to be more intuitive this month, and I feel very confident that this sounds so real and so very much it. Sorry if I got really low there. I know that the air is on. Just checking a few things. All right, Libra. Please check out the second part, the website. I didn't tell you guys this. Usually I put it in the beginning. Well, if you made it here, my website is now up. It's below all of the services that I do. I do 3 different kinds right now. In the future, we'll only show what else is to come. But I do a few different services. It's all there. A new podcast is up. A new one will be up next month. We'll get into the nervous system, the hands, all Virgo season things, and probably around the new moon because I have a moon in Virgo, and well, why not? Why not? I'm sorry if I keep going lower. Forgive me. I love playing with tone, but I know the air is on. So, all information to work with me is now below. Easier to get to. Only one payment option right now. And I appreciate you for being here. Email me if you have any more questions. Patreon extended will be below right after this comes out, so pay attention. Or stay tuned, I should say. And please like, subscribe, send this to a friend. I think that word of mouth is always the best way, so if this has helped you, or you find it interesting or educational or interesting, send it to a friend. I'd really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Oh, happy birthday to all the early Libras, all the September Libras. Happy birthday.